But
hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy Show. Esty, my beautiful co-host, welcome back. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
And Z, welcome back to another show.
that's right. I'm happy to be here.
We
Good
have
to
some
see you.
exciting news for everybody that we're going to talk about. We also have a very interesting guest this week and next week. He'll be calling in around 9:15 to the show. His name is Dr. Gelb Tisposky. I hope I said it correctly.
Probably not.
And okay, and it's about politics, and it's about interesting.
Right up my wheelhouse.
You are going to, because this week we have some very interesting news. How our assemblyman has, how he is not going to run again. You know, we were.
Yeah, he officially announced it.
He officially
You broke the news, but it was official the day after.
Right, but I was the
We were
one who
very
kept
impressed.
telling everybody about it. And as well as the new people that want to run for the office. And we're going to talk about how politicians lie and so on about it.
What?
And-
Politicians lie?
Wow.
And we will be
Brand new information.
Is this real?
and we're going to let Esty have her opinion today, Z, so you're going to be easy on her on that.
Well,
And we're going to talk about things. And we're not going to talk about guns this week because I don't want anybody screaming about me. I give up. You guys can do whatever you want to do. Anyways, before we
Finally, you let people do what they want to do.
Esther,
Good.
let's first tell our products before I do my quote and joke of the day.
Okay, so let's do that. We have Soft Fusion Inc. They are a software development company that's been doing this for 15 years. They create affordable and intuitive problem solving, customization, and they help you save time and money with your business. You can call them for a free consultation at 718-215-9800. We have Pescata Carne. They are a meat restaurant located at 509 Avenue P. You can call and make reservations at 347-702-5711. We have Pescado, New York, which now I feel like these advertisements just make me want to order it all the time.
Yeah, I know. I just love that place.
Yeah, the salmon, the shallots. Oh, so amazing. They're located at 1776 Ocean Avenue. You could call and make a reservation at 718-766-2759. We have Orchidia. They have a buffet from 12 to 3 p.m., $25 per person, including coffee and tea. And they're located at, 4815 12th Avenue.
Very good, Esky. Very good.
If you mention the Just Enough Heshy Show, they're going to give you one of these little red good luck, ward off bad spirit bands that they have there.
They still have good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought they'd all be sold out after one day.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I would also think that.
Keep going, Ez.
Okay. So yeah, we also have
Change Pain.
Yeah. If you need help, advice, life, just inspiration. I realize people are so stuck in their brains. They don't see that like everything is possible. So yeah, if you need any outside perspective, you can reach me at changepain@gmail.com or call 347-687-9995. I also want to say there's a singles event, the Shavuos, for people who...
Shavuos is the holiday from May, I think, 18th through the 21st.
Yeah, so if we have a show, I can't do it then either because I also...
We don't have a show because it's a Monday holiday.
It's a Monday holiday.
So we're off on that particular May 21. We will not be on the air. There might be some kind of a rerun, but we won't be here. Yeah,
so it's for deep connections. It's not just about being single. It's about just meeting cool people. It's a very chilled environment, very organized.
Which place is this?
Very nice. And I want to talk about Chamula Jewelers. They are located at 944 Kings Highway. Chamula Jewelers is a family-owned business for over 40 years. They specialize in diamond engagement rings, eternity bands, and diamond jewelry. Or just bring your old jewelry in, and we can redesign it or freshen it up for a new look. Chamula Jewelers, they've got the sparkle for you. Visit them again at 944 Kings Highway, and you can make special appointments or just call them 718-336-1980. Again, 718-336-1980. Or you can call ttstyles.com, 718-675-6842. Her name is Tehila Tishler. Yes, my delicious Tehila Tishler. You can reach her at TEHILA at TEETEESTYLES.com. She does wigs, hairstyles, makeup, helps a lot with arrangements. This week she sent beautiful flowers to the house. Wow, beautiful, nice arrangement. She knows how to do setups, knows how to make, but basically she's more into the wigs, the faces, the makeups, the hairs, and weddings and the special events. Again, you can reach her at 718-675-6842, 718-675-6842, and check out her website. She has a whole photo stuff there. TEETEESTYLES.com. And of course, you have Green Line Building Solutions. We have plans and permits. We help with stop work orders, vacate orders, and inspections. We help with code compliance. We go to court for ECB violations. We help owners with compliance of their violations. We do expediting for DOB, FDNY, DEP. We help with settlements. We're located in Borough Park, Brooklyn at 5318 16th Avenue. That's the corner of 16th Avenue and 54th Street, 5318 16th Avenue. Or you can just make an appointment and call the office at 718-871-0382, 718-871-0382. And now I'd like to get to my quote.
Okay, and I look forward to this every week.
I have no choice.
The whole week I'm waiting.
My pain may be the reason for somebody's laugh, but my laugh must never be the reason for somebody's pain.
That's nice.
And I'm going to tell you why I said this quote. I have a lot of neighbors that fight with each other. People come and your mother died. I have now a whole block of people fighting with a guy that he inherited the house. Oh, you hated your mother-in-law. You didn't like her. You don't deserve the house. But it's none of your houses. You have no right to rent only to Jewish people.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's actually happening. You can't have a window on the side of your house. They threaten him. I came to help him out, and they came threatening me.
Just because you don't like someone doesn't mean you can inherit something from them. Like,
right,
sorry, you don't deserve it.
And they're trying to take away his house or threaten him to sell it cheaper. And isn't that wrong, Z? Bullying people, and because you have a little power, or you're part of the Hatzalah or the Shoimrim, or you're a politician, you abuse your power.
That ties into what you were talking about, politicians. And I think a lot of the things that people don't realize about politicians is that most of them start off with good intentions, but you know what they say about power and corruption.
They want more.
Power,
they don't stop.
corrupts.
But this
Absolutely.
actually happened to me this week, and I tried to make peace on the block between the neighbors, and all they did was schlep me into it. They're
Yeah,
saying,
of course.
"Oh, Heshy, you pick this side, you switch that side." I said,
just
"No, I'm
never
trying
get
to make
involved.
peace.
Yeah.
I know, and I'm trying to give them compliance." And then
Why do they do sides?
Oh,
Each person
sides.
has to follow
and
what's
then
true to
And then
them.
they call the building department and they rat on each other. That's what
Oh, they
do.
rat on each other?
Yeah.
Isn't that like a big thing in the
I
Jewish
know,
community
I
to rat
know.
on each other?
Yeah.
Is like the worst.
But they
You
don't
would think.
care.
They don't care? All of a sudden, it
They
doesn't
don't care.
matter.
And then they blame it on other people like me. They say, "Oh, you advised them." I says, "No, I advised them not to do it. I don't deal with people. When somebody rats on somebody else, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want you as a client. I dump you right away. And the second you cause your neighbor trouble, work it out." And I try to work things out, but there are some people who are haters. And even in
You just have to activate their kindness by having compassion towards them.
I try. But anyways, let me tell you guys a little story.
Yeah, also,
you know, I'm all going to Israel in a couple of weeks.
We
and,
all know. How do we all know?
well, I've been telling everybody. I'm going on
Oh,
vacation for a couple of days, and me and my wife, she slept me shopping with her. Reluctantly, I went shopping with my wife, and I was, and she went to buy a new dress, and she tried on a whole bunch of them, and they didn't fit. And she came out of the fitting room totally frustrated, and she tells me, "You know, nothing my size fits me."
Mm-hmm.
So I kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to be killed.
Maybe it's a different size.
Right, exactly. But to her, the smaller size, she's
the clothing manufacturer must have made a mistake
exactly.
and mislabeled the clothing.
First off, that is true. They make clothes smaller and smaller. Everyone's in a bigger size.
That she got, God
please,
forbid.
No, they change sizes. That's a real thing. It's out there.
So this week, after telling everybody, and you know we've been preaching the word clean sweep. So I'm going to talk to you people straight out. And Z, I'm going to talk to you and all of you young people, because you guys have the vote. We've been telling all the old guys to quit. We've been telling them that we want to clean sweep, Esther, you and me, all this time. It's time for our politicians to say goodbye and give it over to the new people, the new generation. There's no reason for people to consolidate power and take everything all at once. Mr. Dov Heiken, you served your community for 36 years. We want to wish you goodbye. Thank you for serving us. It's time for new leadership. Mr. Eichenstein, a guy, Simcha Eichenstein, right away announced his candidacy for the assembly seat of the 48th district.
Okay.
So he's going to be running around to all the Mosdes and yeshivas that have been promised money, and they're going to vote for him. I believe that it's the people should wake up and make the decision. Don't let these people con you and trick you and these rabbis, because you know what? We were promised $168 million for children's yeshivas. None of the people that I speak to, I'm talking door to door, have received tuition breaks or discounts. Children that have special needs are paying money out of their pocket to go to special teachers. There's no pre-K programs. Okay, Simcha Eichenstein.
You know what the solution is to that is anytime a child needs extra disabilities and nobody wants to pay for it, just send them to a public school, and all of a sudden everyone's going to chip in and give it in.
But they don't.
It's not true. As soon as they hear a Jewish kid going to a public school, they all freak out and they want to.
That's the beginning of the end.
Yeah, it's not true. But I'm just
telling you. You have to make the threat clear.
You know, and also I found out this year's budget by the government, by our city, $1.7 billion higher than last year in the 80-something billion dollar range. Where do you think they're going to get this money? They're going to hire more inspectors. They're going to hire more brownie cops or ticket agents or whatever you want to call them. And they're going to just ticket us and take that money out of us instead of finding ways to cut the budget.
Wait, they raised the price of cigarettes. The taxes. So obviously money's coming somewhere.
That's supposed to go to education.
What? They're taking money from cigarettes for education?
That's what they're supposedly supposed to do.
They tell you where they're taking the money from and where they're going to put it. They almost never do that.
And these people, these politicians, they lie to us. They haven't reduced our parking. They haven't fixed our.
It's not, I don't know if it's a lie. I mean, they just didn't get around to it.
They plan to. The young generation is really into politics enough to want to get involved? That's the question. I feel like the young generation doesn't really.
But the young generation has, because they're going to get screwed because their fees are going to go up.
But they don't even like know about what's happening out there.
But what they're doing is
they're
being led blindly.
Right. That's
and
the problem.
I hear the politicians don't really knock on the doors.
That they just have to take whatever is given to them.
They don't know. They go to all
help.
the rabbis and priests and schools and they say, well, the Mosdes want this. Well, you know what? I'm tired of the Mosdes. I like the Mosdes. I like the rabbis. But the people, you people, wake up. Make a decision. Do you want to change? Do you want to go in the old way? I have no idea. I know that I'm tired of this. I'm tired of politicians coming out, telling us stories, lying, and saying, I'm the boss, and this is what has to be done, and I got permission from your rabbi or from your school, and I'm giving them money. All I know is when you give them the money, I don't see where the money's coming down and trickling down to our little people.
Oh.
My tuition is going up. My fees are going up. My taxes are going up. I'm getting 2 or 3 tickets every week because they hired more brownies who don't really care or whatever, ticket agents. They're hiring more building department inspectors who are ticketing us for
because it's free money for them. Why wouldn't
exactly.
they?
And our politicians are not fighting for us. You're right. When you call them up and they say, "Oh, I got a bus ticket," they'll help us fight once in a while.
Yeah.
But Z, I want to change. Guys, you're in a new election season. I'm talking about a local politics now. We're in the 48th district. We have a new assemblyman coming into power, new district leaders coming into power. Wake up, make your decision, see who's on that ballot, see who's going to make the change. Call them up because I'll tell you right now, it's going to continue on this way. It's only going to get worse. I like Mr. Trump. Do you know why, Z?
You do.
Because he tells you the way it is. Maybe you're right, like Dave
He's
Mehta.
just like me.
Right. Dave Mehta says, well,
like
Trump hasn't done
like
what he did our tax reform. He gets on the radio. He says it like a layman.
Can we talk about what's different this week in the world than was different than last week?
What is different this week and last week?
Well, some pretty major news happened over the weekend, as I'm sure a lot of you know.
Which ones?
Well, an almost 70-year-old war ended.
What?
Well, we think it's going to end, but it's taken the first step towards ending.
And I give Trump credit for that.
And you know what? Of course, anybody with a brain should. And you know what's hysterical? So anybody with a brain could see the news and realize that Trump obviously had a lot to do with this happening because he said he's going to do it, and he sent over the people to get it done, to help negotiate, to do all these things. And you know what? They still don't give him credit. They still don't give him credit. If you look at the comment section,
I was watching CNN last night.
They gave it like a half a second.
Right.
Like, oh, maybe, yeah, and then back to Stormy Daniels, whatever. Meanwhile, what makes it much funnier is that the president of South Korea said directly, President Trump gets credit for making this happen. But no, some idiot on CNN who doesn't know anything about anything but likes to comment on her computer, she knows the inner workings of the politics behind the scenes of a nuclear deal going on in Korea.
No, but a lot of the Democratic congressmen and senators are also saying, well, we can't knock Trump, but it still hasn't gone through.
You know, I used to think it was a joke. People used to say that if he cured cancer, right, that they would find out, they would criticize him for putting doctors out of business, right? I used to think it was a joke. But if people can't give credit for something like this, where the freaking South Korean president is saying he's the reason why this is happening, you have to give him credit, and I think he should win a Nobel Peace Prize. And the people that are fighting him are saying, no, like, what would it take? What would he have to do to get some credit?
He's going to cure cancer.
Sit back
Trump for curing cancer.
Let him take care of business because he's doing this job.
I know.
It's amazing. It's just amazing to me. Like, what more? The economy is doing great. Unemployment's like, what else could the man do? But no, because he said, you know, something on a TV show 11 years ago behind the scenes, he's a terrible person. We have to fight him every step of the way.
And what's the big news?
Imagine Obama had the economy and all these things happening. He would be the best president ever. Build statues of him. He's the president of the world, the best person ever. Right. The things that Trump is doing, he's getting no credit for.
Trump says it the way it is, and
he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, Mr. Trump, if you ever listen, we all support you. We think you're doing a great job, and go
Trump
you.
Is listening to.
I believe it.
Why not?
Show.
Why isn't that?
I'm sure he Googles himself and sees if anything's related.
He listens to Fox News. We know that. Do you know he called in Fox News last week on their show?
Yeah.
He said Donald's from Washington, D.C., and they know that it's the president, that he actually spoke. Whatever. He was a little bit. It was a real Trump interview. He was, he was going off. He didn't let anybody interrupt him for like 20 minutes. He had a lot on his mind, and he unloaded.
Good. I'm happy he did.
But there's nothing he can do. He's literally fighting a war against like the media.
But you know what? That's the beauty of President Trump, that he does not care. Like sometimes I have people knocking me on my WhatsApp or chat, and I just fight back.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Just Enough Heshy Show, ST. How do they call into the show?
Oh, I think someone's trying to call in. 718-303-9090, and get us on YouTube, on Facebook.
So don't we have a guest that's calling?
We do have a guest. Oh yeah, maybe. You know what I was thinking? I saw in Sushi Tokyo they had a jar that says, "If you don't like change, leave it here." I thought that was so cute.
Okay, well, we have our guest calling on the line. Esty, I don't even know how to push the button. Z, I think they have the button on the other side of the table, so you gotta push the button. No? How do we push the button?
Button 5.
Yeah, button 5. I'll give it to me.
I can handle pushing button 5. Let me take it from here.
Hello?
Hello?
Is this Dr. Gelb?
Yes, this is Dr. Gelb.
Hi, Dr. Gelb. This is, I'm going to explain to my audience who you are. This is Dr. Gelb. How do you say your last name? Tispersky?
Yeah.
Hispowski, you are, I'm just sorry, but I'm just going to read your
Why don't we
bio.
let him introduce himself?
I'm going to, but okay, go ahead, doctor. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and because we're very upset in our local politics, how our politicians lie, and we have big voting races that are going to be coming up in this mid-election season. So explain to us what we should look out for and who you are.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, my name is Gleb Sapurski. I'm the co-founder of the Pro-Truth Pledge project at protruthpledge.org, designed to get everyone who cares about facts and truth to commit to 12 truth-oriented behaviors, including, of course, politicians. And we as private citizens, in order to get our politicians to commit to them, we should commit to them as well and get our politicians to commit to them. So that's at protruthpledge.org. It comes from behavioral science research on what behaviors correlate with the truth. You know, when we talk about the truth, it's a very fuzzy concept. And I'm a professor of behavioral science, so kind of this is where my background comes in. So truth is a very fuzzy concept. Now, so everyone can have their own versions of the truth, right? So that's
there's always three, you know what they say, there's always three versions of the truth, right?
Exactly.
Person A, person B is in the real version.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in order to address that, we found 12 behaviors that research in psychology, behavioral science, shows are oriented toward the facts. And so that doesn't require any person to have any specific truth. It just requires everyone to be able to observe each other and see whether we're following these behaviors or not. It's like any code of ethics. So basically, we get politicians to commit to it, we get private citizens to commit to it, we get media to commit to it, and everyone is better off when we know and can observe each other following these behaviors. And we can talk about what they are.
Are you going to tell what the 12 are? I'm very excited.
Well, before you do, but Doc, I have a question for you. Why do people fall for the lies that the politicians give? How can we help people avoid falling for such lies that these politicians tell us?
So people tend to fall for the lies of politicians partially because of the way our brain is structured. Our brain is evolved not for the modern world, but for the savanna environment. So, and in the savanna environment, we lived in small tribes where our politicians were the tribal chiefs, so with whom we had direct contact. And so we can observe them and we can trust them and we can give them credibility. Now, our mind, unfortunately, is not well adapted to deal with politicians who we see on TV and who, tell us stories and who we can't verify. Our mind is not skeptical. It's intuitively credible. It tends to believe whatever is said, especially when it's being said by people with whose values we agree and who try to manipulate us. Research shows that people are very easily fooled. People are very easily fooled. There's a lot of research showing this. And politicians are very skilled at fooling people, at manipulating people. If you think of used car salesmen are very skilled at fooling people. There's a reason they're called,
So, Doc, you're saying all politicians basically lie?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
they're salesmen.
It's very easy
they're selling themselves.
Very easy.
That's what they are.
Right.
Politicians are salesmen. They're selling themselves as a product.
Used car, I'm not going to tell you that there are no honest used car salesmen.
We got one right here.
I may or may not be in the used car business.
Perfect. So there are honest used car salesmen, but there's a reason, there's an idea in our society that used car salesmen are frequently dishonest because it's very easy. Where used car salespeople deal with a complex topic, which is the car, which most people don't know much about. Politicians deal with policies, which is a complex topic. It's something that most people don't know about. Used car salespeople, their goal is to sell you the car. The goal is not for you to have a very nice and quality vehicle. The goal of politicians is to get you to vote for them. The goal is not for you to have good quality policies. So you see, their goals are distinct from the outcomes. And that's a big problem because humans are very susceptible to people lying. So in order to address that, that's one of the reasons we have the Pro-Truth Pledge. Because again, everyone has their own versions of the truth. But if we can observe people, whether they stick to these behaviors, and we can talk about what they are, then we can get them to be much more honest and hold them accountable to make sure that they don't lie
I want to know what they are. I want to write them down.
I want to ask you one more question. Why exactly is deception in politics so harmful to our political system? I mean, we know they lie. I mean, why is it so harmful? So they lie.
Isn't it for public safety sometimes?
I mean, no, they just lie. I mean, they're going to do whatever they want anyways. Once they get elected, there's nothing we can do about it anyways, right? So, I mean, what is it so harmful to us?
So there are a couple of reasons, and the two big reasons are corruption and authoritarianism. So corruption. If we don't know whether a politician is honest or not, if the politician is able to get away with lies, and the question is the politician able to get away with lies? If the politician is able to get away with lies, and the politician says, I'm honest and I'm truthful, and you should all trust me, and then turns around and stuffs his pockets with taxpayer money or payoffs from special interest groups on the left or on the right and lobbyists, whatever. If that is the politician that you're dealing with, and if people can't tell whether the politician is lying or not, then the politician can be as corrupt as the politician wants.
Well, can I ask you a question? Do you feel that most of these politicians come into office already as corrupt people, or that the fact that they realize that, wow, they have so much power, they could get away with so much, it takes somebody who doesn't have any intent of being that way, but when they actually get into office and they realize what they can do, it's enough to actually make them, kind of change as a person and become a little bit more corrupt?
It definitely is the case with power corrupts. Many people who get into office don't go into politics thinking that let me just be the most corrupt politician ever, right?
Well, of course.
Most people
but I'm saying some people are corrupt when they come in. Like we know already, like they had it from before and they somehow weaseled their way in.
Like, why did they want power? Maybe because it's for bad reasons.
Sure. Yeah, so far from all people go into politics thinking that they're going to be very corrupt. But once they're in power, so there's going to be a smallish proportion who go there knowing, I'm going to be really corrupt. Now, there's another proportion, larger proportion, I would say, who say, hey, I want to pass good laws and enact good policies. When they go into politics, they usually go at the lower levels, and they tend to not succeed very well because politics is structured in such a way as to promote, not to make truth-telling favorable and to promote corruption, especially now with more and more growing misinformation, fake news, and so on. So it's the people who rise higher and stay longer in politics tend to be more and more corrupt, just because of the way the system is. And so when you see people going at the very top level, Congress and so on, you would have many more people who are corrupt than people at the local levels, like a county commissioner or a city council member.
Well, so when they want to consolidate their power, or like right before election season, they all come up with these great victories, or they stop the whole Senate and they hit the newspapers. Is that considered like a corruption? Like, look, you haven't done anything for all this time.
Well, they tell people, we're going to take care of it next. Well, we'll do it next.
And all of a sudden, they wake up the last minute and they stop everything. I believe that's corruption as well, putting everything to a standstill, and then all of a sudden, look how great I am. Is that?
I think it's that they take shortcuts.
Yeah, so that's sin. That's not corruption. The technical term for corruption is when politicians are using their authority for personal enrichment. So that's the technical term for corruption. That's kind of
is it also that they prepared themselves that when they finish their political run, that they get a big position for $500,000 or $1 million job in the private sector?
That's a form. That can be a form of corruption if they did it in exchange for a political favor while they were in office.
Right. Like, let's say they need a certain amount of money and the person who's paying them is saying, hey, you have to do me a favor. A lot of people can't raise their own money. So instead of working to raise the money, they'll go to one person who promises them a lot of money for their campaign. And then they have to keep that promise or that person won't campaign for them next year. So it's not that they want to be corrupt. It's just that it's automatic. In order to get paid, this is how they do it. Our system is broken that you can have one person donating a lot to your campaign.
My problem is
that's a big problem. And the other, so that's one of the big problems with corruption, of course. The other big problem with people lying in office and being able to get away with lies is authoritarianism. Because if a politician is able to get away with lies, the politician can say, hey, in this election process, there were so many illegal ballots cast for my opponent, I'm the one who really won. And so if a politician is able to get away with that lie and push it through and keep himself or herself in office through that means, that paves the way for authoritarianism. So that's a very classical scene of how authoritarian dictators took power in Russia, in Turkey, in Germany, in Spain, and many other countries around the world.
And that's happening. And that's happening in America as well today.
In some areas, yes. So that's kind of a big danger, and so those are two big dangers of politicians being able to get away with lies.
Now, Doctor, are you telling me that we're all so dumb that a politician gets up to, and I believe this, by the way, I'm going to tell you, he says, look what I did. I did this, this, and this, and he never really did anything. But he says, look what I've accomplished. And I don't see anything accomplished because I'm just a little guy, and nothing he's done has helped me at all. And he keeps telling that he did help me. Are we that stupid that we vote for him again, that we believe him? Look, you never did anything for me, but you say you did, and we end up believing him? Why?
So the crucial thing is not what the politician actually did. The crucial thing always is perception. How effectively the politician is able to perceive, convey certain messages. So it's all about messaging, it's all about spin, and whether people trust that politician. And that's what the pro-truth pledge is about, being able to actually convey accurate information as opposed to this sort of spin. So this is one of the big problems that we face in our politics right now, that people tend to believe spin. And so we need to address this tendency for people to believe spin.
Yep. Can I ask something, by the way? Oh, no, that's go ahead.
No, I want to ask about the 12R, but you go first.
Oh, I feel like, and again, there's no real solution to this problem because, like, otherwise politics won't really work. But I feel like the problem that we really have behind the scenes is that the whole system of politicians getting money are from people with agendas, whether it's lobbyists, whether it's groups or associations. Like, how do you balance being fair, balanced, and honest with the fact that you actually, the people are giving you money? They expect, whether it's directly putting money into your pocket or kind of like hush hush, but like, hey, obviously if a certain association is supporting you, they're expecting you're going to vote their way and do certain things for them. I feel like it's almost impossible to be totally, complete. And that's another reason why people really liked, about Trump, because he wasn't a regular politician taking money from, from donors and from, lobbyists. But for your average politician, most of their campaign money is funded by people who have interests in mind. So it's almost impossible to be totally straight and honest and not corrupt in some way when, your funding is coming in from certain people. How is it possible to, to eliminate that?
Yeah, so we have to be realistic that it's never going to be possible to eliminate it. So we have to work within the structure. And we have to understand what the money is for.
We should only have rich politicians.
The money is for politicians. They are not putting it in their pocket when the money is given to them. The money is used for campaign advertising, for reputation building. So you can look at the money. When people say, oh, how much money does a person have in the bank? What do they spend it for? They spend it for their campaigns, staff salaries, but mainly for advertising. Social media advertising, TV advertising, and so on. That's the way that politicians get elected. So all that money is going to get politicians elected. In essence, the money is a tactic in the realm of reputation. What is the politician's reputation? So in order to address this, the reputation thing, we have to work on the reputation angle, because ordinary people like us, we can't compete with the money, but we can compete on the reputation. So how can we increase the reputation of politicians who are truthful and decrease the reputation of politicians who aren't truthful? Those are the key questions we should be asking. Again, we're not going to be able to compete with the money. The money is always going to be present. So we need to focus on the reputation in the same way that the Better Business Bureau increases the reputation of businesses that are more ethical and decreases the reputation of businesses that are less ethical. And that of course results in more money for more ethical businesses. So that's a way of counterbalancing the natural tendency in our capitalistic system for businesses to engage in unethical practices, like screwing over consumers. So the way we're talking about the Better Business Bureau and car salespeople, like used car salespeople, there's a reason why used car salespeople who are honest would tend to join the Better Business Bureau, because they're being held accountable. And so maybe they will sell their cars for a little bit higher than the people who haven't joined the Better Business Bureau, but you can trust them much more than those used car salespeople who haven't joined the Better Business Bureau. So that's kind of an example
but basically,
of how reputation is the key.
So, Doctor, the guy who spends the most money in the social media and the political campaign is usually the winner. Is that correct?
Oh, far from always. So if you look at the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton spent more money on advertising, but Trump won. So it's far from always the case that the one who spends the most money actually wins, because there are other ways of getting reputation without relying so much on money. Of course, money is just a tactic. What a reputation.
Yeah, but so generally, generally the more well-funded people have a much better chance.
Yeah,
it's not like
money. Yeah, money can get your reputation.
So if you're an honorable man and you're running for office and you don't have the money, don't even run. Is that correct?
Unfortunately.
If you don't have the money, yeah, I think unless it's a local office, it's going to be really hard for you to win. So
even according to you, I'm an honorable man. I'm trying to do good. I'm putting the word out, but the other guy has more money.
They have more money to put the word out.
So let the bad politician win. Let him promise all the promises that he wants, and let him screw out my fellow neighbors and friends over while I sit back and watch. I don't know if I can accept that.
No, absolutely not. That's what I'm saying about the local level. On the local level, let's say a city council member, a county commissioner, or something like that, or you can compete and win with people who have a lot of money, because you can do door knocking and you can talk to people, so you can put in sweat equity. And if you have a lot of volunteers, you can compete with people who are wealthy, and so on. So it depends on your ability to mobilize other resources than money.
Well,
and so there are plenty
I think that you've lost touch, because our last council race, we spent, our politicians, just my competitors, because I ran for the convening, spent over $1.5 million.
Oh, wow.
Right, for a local seat, and they really social media'd and blasted everybody.
Yeah, that's what it is nowadays. You have to have the money.
What was the race for?
It was for city council of the 44th district.
In where?
In Brooklyn, New York.
Ah, well, okay. Brooklyn, New York is obviously a very wealthy area. If you're living in I was thinking more like in a small town, in a rural area. You can, let's say that where you have, 500 people in a district, or let's say if you have a town of 10,000 people and you have 500 people, you can easily door knock, on 500 doors for your district. And that's where a number of people who take the approach of such politicians are at these local levels, and that's they can win. And of course, people who are at higher levels. We have 3 Congress members who took the pro-truth pledge. So it helps people at every level to increase their reputation. So if you want to be honest and truthful, you have to look for other ways to increase your reputation besides taking payoffs and special interests and trying to screw your neighbors. So that's going to be a really.
But now, when you take these payoffs and contributions, you have to pay it back. You have to give them back something. I'm sure you're funneling big contracts, government money, government funding for special programs to the big boys that never really actually trickle down, or very little trickle down. How do they get away with that?
Because people believe them. They're very effective in massaging people and getting people to believe them. Again, that's one of the reasons why we're really focusing on the pro-truth pledge as a way for everyone to agree on these observable behaviors.
So
that's a way of holding people accountable. So I can go for the behaviors. So for anyone who wants to follow along, you can go to the website, protruthpledge.org. Again, that's protruthpledge.org. And the behaviors are: fact-check information to confirm it's true before sharing it. Share the whole truth, even if some aspects don't support my opinion. It's like when you swear in the Bible in court, share the whole truth. Share my sources. Distinguish between my opinions and the facts. Acknowledge when others share the facts, even when we disagree otherwise. So someone who's your enemy. Align your opinions and your actions with accurate, true information. Ask people to retract information that reliable sources have disproved, even if those people are my allies. I celebrate those who retract incorrect statements and update their beliefs toward the truth. And a couple more behaviors like this. All of these behaviors, we can see anyone on the far left, from the far right, anywhere, can see that these are truth-oriented behaviors. Very neutral, completely nonpartisan, We just look at these behaviors and we can see, are you following these behaviors? Great. If you're not following these behaviors, that's bad.
But
so what we work.
Doctor, you're a professor at the Ohio State University, correct? So you've seen people lie to you and tell you stories. I mean, the way you just told us all this stuff, fact check and check. You know, people are not going to do it, and even if they do fact check, they're never going to.
I was thinking it's so tough. I can't do that to make such a promise to check everything. There would be tons of research all the time. I don't know if
we're going to believe the first thing that comes out of their mouth. If somebody in our neighborhood says, "Oh, look, he did something bad," we're so happy to hear that somebody did something bad. We don't even want to check the fact if it's truth or not.
That's look how it works nowadays with the media. The second they say, we maybe possibly heard that Trump did something, another.
Or the guy who was running against Obama, who then suddenly 3 people came forward and said, that he was he violated them in some way, and he just had to pull out, even though there was no facts, and these women could take it back a minute later. But too bad the damage was done.
No accountability.
Yeah. So this is one of the things that wouldn't we want our public officials and media figures and anyone who has a public role to abide by these behaviors? Wouldn't we trust that person much more if that person promised to abide by them? Moreover, there's a way of holding people accountable. Just like the Better Business Bureau, any customer can go to the Better Business Bureau website and complain about a business file a complaint about a business that is part of the Better Business Bureau but didn't abide by the standards. Anyone who took the pro-truth pledge, any private citizen can look up if their Congress member, if their local representative or whatever, if they took the pro-truth pledge, they can see whether they're holding these behaviors or not. And if not, they can report a violation on the pro-truth pledge website.
Would you even trust someone? Bureau. I mean, if someone told me they took this pledge, I wouldn't believe them, because to check the facts on everything you say is so impossible. If someone said they took it, I'd say they're just better at covering it up somehow. Who's going to check everything they say?
We have 3 Congress members who took the pro-truth pledge. We have a bunch of other people. They're all listed on the pro-truth pledge website. So anyone can go. They can check the public figures, see if anyone they know is listed on the public figures website. There are a number of people in New York who took the pro-truth pledge, by the way.
I was really hoping that you would tell us how to tell if a politician is lying, like little
their
details.
Lips are moving.
But like little factor details, because
this is a very unfortunate tendency that we have in our society of saying that all politicians lie, like saying that all used car salesmen lie. That's just not true. There are a number of honest politicians. We just can't tell them apart from the bad ones.
Yep, that's the problem.
We can't tell them apart from the liars. And so this is the key. How can we differentiate them? How can we improve their chance of winning public office? How can we reward them for their honesty? And that's the key thing that you need to do. Just like the better businesses that joined the Better Business Bureau.
But how can you prove it? How can you prove that somebody violated the pro-truth pledge or not? Like, how do you?
Easily. It's all described on the contact page so you go on the contact page, you see the ways that somebody can violate the pro-truth pledge. They can do things like say that there's some misinformation out there. I'll give you an example. So there was an organization called Every Town USA, which said that there were 18 school shootings prior to the Parkland school shooting this year.
Yeah,
so,
and they ate it up. I saw that also. They ate it up. It's totally not true. It's
exactly.
fear. It's
and
fear
what happened when we actually look at those school shootings? People think school shooting, there's a gunman, he shoots kids in school, right? That's the typical image we have in school shooting. That's how we define school shootings. Well, they actually defined it differently. They looked at any gun discharged on school property.
Right.
There was an example of a gun discharge,
manipulation.
Absolutely. And that is a clear example of a violation of the pro-truth pledge. If they took the pro-truth pledge, they would have violated it. Of course they did. So that's a very clear example of where we can observe that the statement they make goes against the common sense understanding of school shooting. That's a clear example of a violation of the pro-truth pledge. They don't deserve our trust. Now, there are I think over 60 organizations that took the pro-truth pledge. Organizations like Media Bias Fact Check. Here in Columbus, where I live, there's a newspaper that took it, the Columbus Free Press, many other organizations, which I can go into in more depth. So we can look at them and we can say, okay, these organizations deserve our credibility because they took the pro-truth pledge, they're being held accountable.
I can't commit to that. Wow. It would be tough for me to commit to it, to always check everything. I say my opinion and thoughts. I don't know if it's
Doc, Doc, you are a great guest. You are Wow,
This is good news. People are doing things.
I wish we should. I'm going to promote that. Everybody should do this pro-truth
pledge.
And Doc, you've written a lot of books, and you're author of multiple books, including something forthcoming, the alternative to alternative facts, or something of that nature.
Yes. So this is a book. So this is the book that's going to be forthcoming, and it describes the broader pro-truth movement that's centered around the pro-truth pledge. The pro-truth pledge is just a segue into a broader movement of people who are uniting together and fighting the misinformation that is so rampant in our society. So the pro-truth pledge is just one way of doing so. There's a lot of activism that people are taking. For example, they're organizing together to ask their Congress members and local representatives to take the pro-truth pledge. That's an easy thing to do that anyone can do. Take the pro-truth pledge, get other people to do it. That's one thing.
Wow.
Another thing that's even more harder, that's a little bit harder, is having conversations that are truth-seeking conversations around issues we disagree. Typically, when we disagree on an issue, we have arguments about it, debates around it. Research shows that's a really bad way of figuring out what is the truth around any specific issue, because we tend to just hunker down into our own positions. A collaborative truth-seeking conversation is one where we admit our lack of knowledge, come to it from a position of humility, build up mutual trust, and then have a civil discourse where we try to figure out the truth, recognizing that we are
it's almost impossible nowadays to have civil discourse. Well, it's almost impossible to have civil discourse now.
Well, that's
exactly. So
thank you.
Kind of this is some of the things that the book talks about. How do you do this? How do you fix our society?
Well, so tell us the name and where we can get this book.
Broken. Huh?
Tell us the name and where we can get this book.
So you can have an early version of it. There's one on Amazon called The Truth Seeker's Handbook, a science-based guide. It's already written. It's published. It's an Amazon bestseller. Again, available on Amazon, called The Truth Seeker's Handbook, a science-based guide. And that's one for a broad, popular audience. For anyone who's listening to this show. The one I'm writing, The Alternative Facts, is more high-level academic and intended to show all the research behind what we're talking about, kind of the behavioral science stuff. But for anyone who wants to know more about it right now, they can go to Amazon, The Truth Seeker's Handbook, a science-based guide written by me, and check all that out.
Thank you, Doc. You've been a wonderful guest. I'm going to tell all the politicians running in this next election, our local election, they better get onto this pro-truth thing.
Yeah, we'll look into it. Maybe we'll do it too.
Thank you, Doc.
I hope all of you do it as well. You're all media figures.
We will. And if me and Esty run for office, we will do it. We're not sure of anything.
I'm going to try. I'm going to see if it's possible. Like how difficult it's going to be.
You buy the book and we'll read it together.
It's just I don't want to sign up and then it should be wrong.
Zach, thank you for your time.
Of course.
Have a great week. You've been a wonderful guest.
Thanks so much. You have a great day.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Well, Esty, I like this. Why don't we force our new politicians to do this?
So I really like this. I have to check what I'd be promising to, and is it too much to promise? Because I don't know if I can check everything.
It's not you, Esty, but all these other politicians, they promise, then they hog all the power and they want more power.
What's worse is taking the pledge and then not keeping it. So if I'm going to take it, I have to make really sure I can keep it.
Do the people understand that they're taking the pledge and the politicians don't listen to it?
I don't know. Maybe the politicians are. But look at this. This is a regular guy who's going out there saying, hey, I don't like corruption. I'm going to make a stand. I'm going to have a system. Who would even think this is a brilliant system of forcing people to be honest and like to have it down on paper and to get points for it. Hello, this is us. He's making a change.
Z, what do you say, Z?
I mean, you already know what I think.
What? You don't think it's going to help? I don't know. I'm just so excited that people are trying new things.
Esty, let's take a caller.
Oh, yeah, he's been waiting for a while. Hi, you guys listening to the Just Enough Heshy Show? You can call in at 718-303-9090. Hi, caller. You're on the air with Uncle Heshy, Z, and Esty.
Hi, good evening. It's your weekly call.
Oh, God, I recognize that voice.
How are you? What's doing? Politicians lie, and what are we
other
going to do about
breaking news stories?
Any other breaking news stories?
Yeah.
So this whole thing with North Korea, the president of South Korea, or the prime minister of South Korea,
literally said it
himself. South Korea, came out saying that Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. So it struck my curiosity. So I went online and I did some research. And can anyone guess who won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2009?
Yes, we know. We don't know why, but we know who.
No, it was
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
For
what?
Nobody knows. Nobody's quite sure.
What did he do?
Nobody knows.
I was asking the same question.
For bombing the crap out of a lot of countries. That's for why.
Listen, I find myself on the Nobel Peace Prize website, and this is I stopped reading after a few sentences because this is how it goes. The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided that the Nobel Peace Prize for 2009 is to be awarded to President Barack Obama for his extraordinary effort. Extraordinary effort.
A for effort.
Effort, that's it?
Nobody knows.
Yeah, that's so racist. That's the only reason why he got it. If he was white, he would have never gotten it.
It's strengthening international diplomacy and cooperation between people. The committee has attached special importance to Obama's vision of hard work for a world without nuclear weapons.
Well, when he came in, he did promise change. We were all excited about it.
For a world without nuclear weapons.
Yeah. Well,
now look at it.
Yeah.
Look at the person who's actually getting rid.
Trump did something about nuclear weapons. No, Obama. He did it. All Obama did was the exact opposite. Look at what came out in the news today with Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, coming out with hardcore evidence.
Not that it matters, because people are still saying, "Oh, it's fake. It's just a typical, Bibi." Doesn't matter. Don't you understand? It doesn't matter what people do or say. Once people are set in their stupid ways on the left, it doesn't matter what you shove in your face. It doesn't matter what facts you show them. None of that matters, because in their minds they think that they're right, and facts and evidence don't.
So here we go. So here we go on to a deeper point. I'm going to get a bit deep here with you guys. I hope you could bear with me on this.
You got 1 minute. Go ahead.
Over the weekend, can I get 2 minutes? Is that right?
2 minutes. Go ahead, Elkie.
What about 3? No, I'm joking. Okay. So over the weekend, I was at a dive bar, and this girl spilled a beer all over my shoes. So she like gives me a napkin. I'm like, thank you very much, $900 shoes. So she looks at me, and this is what she says. She says, well, excuse me, you shouldn't be wearing $900 shoes to a dive bar. So I look at it, and I can't even wrap my head around this, and I come to the conclusion of 2 things. First of all, people are just really stupid. Some people, there's nothing you can do about it.
This is what it took?
They're just morons, and well...
This is what it took for you to realize?
Yeah, well...
Why? Are they a moron? You're wearing expensive shoes and you're upset if it gets ruined? Don't pay so much for shoes if they get ruined too much. Like,
So
you're just as... Okay, never mind.
Thank you. Oh, because... I'm sorry, why are you spending $900 on shoes? What are you going to do with that? How many feet?
If you're driving on the road and you crash into someone's $100,000 Mercedes, you're going to get out and tell him why.
No, you have insurance. If you care about your shoes so much and you want to spend $900, get insurance on it.
There's no such thing as insurance for shoes. And it doesn't make a difference if somebody ruins them. It's not your problem that someone else ruined them with.
It's a mistake. Like, he's mad at... Like, it's a mistake, okay?
The mistake isn't the problem. The mistake is that she made it sound like it's his fault for, God forbid, for wearing expensive shoes in a place where they could get dirty. So what?
So I'm thinking it's the other way around. If she happened to work hard for her money and buy $900 pair of shoes, and I spilled a drink on her shoes, you'd just be just as upset.
And you would think, what a bimbo! Like, all she cares about is her shoes.
No, not at all.
That's what I would think.
What I'm saying, we're all hypocrites. Okay, when someone cuts you off on the highway, you get angry, right? But 5 minutes before
when
that,
you cut someone off and they honk at you, you go, "Oh, what's this guy honking? Relax."
If I'm sitting in traffic or at a traffic light, and 1 second I'm on my phone for a second, and the light turns green, and someone beeps behind me,
shut the hell up.
I'll be like, "What's your problem?" And vice versa. If I'm standing behind someone who's texting on their phone and by the traffic light, and it turns, I'll get angry at them. And we're all human beings. And we're all hypocrites in the end of the day, and there's nothing anyone can say or do to change that. And this brings me to the point of politicians are also human beings. And show me one system of government in the last 20 million years that the world has been here, or the last 6,000 years that the world has been here, or whatever it is. Show me one system of government that's really withstanded the test of time.
The Jewish one? There are judges, courts. You know, you have to have 3 things in order to be a judge.
Well,
it was years ago. It was socialism and communism and democracy.
Like that.
there'll be something else in the next 50 years or so. I'm sure of it.
Well, thank you, Elkie, for your call. Have a
We
great
look forward
week.
to it every week.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys next
It's the one time a week when I actually talk to you on a phone.
Well, guys, interesting tonight.
What do you think about that, by the way? I wanted to go back to what I was saying before
About
what he was talking about, politicians. In all seriousness, forget about the lying aspect, but the whole system of politics is built on people donating money with their interest in mind. So how could it ever be a fair and balanced system when you automatically have to suck up and kind of like give in to the things that they're asking for? Whether you're not allowed to outright give money. Like I never understood that. It's like you can't walk over to the guy and put money in his pocket and say, okay, make sure you vote this way, because that would be considered a crime and that's corruption, right? But when you're donating money, it's almost implied that obviously because this person's going to have your interest in mind. Believe me, if you donated $10 million to a campaign, when push comes to shove, when the time comes, to vote the way the guy wants. Obviously, you're going to do it. Otherwise,
you're going to have to pay it back somehow, somewhere in the future.
I don't get how the whole system is crazy when you think about it.
Our ex-councilman, he left the office. We're
talking about even the president. We're talking about major state. I mean, the whole concept of politics is based on funding and based on donations and based on private people giving money towards politicians. How do you balance the whole concept of being funded by people with corruption? Like, it's impossible.
I don't know.
The whole concept, when I heard it, I never understood that.
Our new campaign, everybody, that the new election that's running in your local political office, I want you to look out. I want you to watch what's going on. I want you to pay close attention. Don't be tricked by your rabbis, your yeshivas, your mosques. Sure, you should listen for guidance, but don't let them tell you how to vote. It's your vote. Don't get tricked another 4 years or 2 years, and then we get screwed. Let's take some calls. We got a couple
more
minutes
calls.
left.
Yeah, I know. Okay, we gotta do this quick.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, you missed a call, Esther.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, hi guys. With corruption, I just wanted to add, I was in this ambulance chase thing around for a few years, and what I noticed is that it was like a fraternity, so there was almost like an unwritten agreement that everybody had their hands in the till. Whatever needed to be lied about, doctor, lawyer, cops, maybe cops might have been involved, was done. So it seemed like, number one, that the people, and I think one of the things that was in that I thought about was some of these people wanted more money than they could make otherwise, by being honest. That was part of it. And then the other thing was, once these people started doing it, dipping their hand in the waters, they were never going to stop. It was like the pattern would just continue. So a friend of mine from that, like, he was cheating a little bit, and I was saying, what are you doing? And he ended up on a mole case for apartments. He got caught keeping more than a third of like a $2 million settlement, and got, I think, disbarred. He so it creeps up, and they do more and more. But you could maybe relate that to the politicians, where they're a fraternity. They have different rules for sexual harassment than the common man. They're allowed to insider trade when they would have had access to good information to do that. So that's about it.
Okay.
Well, interesting, Joe. Thank you for your call, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah.
You see what Joe says? I mean, it's basically, it's all about the money.
Yeah, well, of course, that's what it comes down
to.
I
know that.
I'm going to say, like a rabbi. Some of these rabbis, if you go to them to approve something, he says, no, I'm not going to approve it. He fires you. Or we fire the rabbi, right? So the rabbi does have to, after a while, give in, like a hechsher. I mean,
don't even get me started. I was about to say that the whole concept of share is ridiculous.
Right. Why can't women be a mashgiach?
They can.
They can, but not in New York.
About? Really?
In New York, you know of any?
I don't.
Everywhere else, there's a lot of them.
I have no idea.
It's not acceptable here, but
Well, that's insane.
Well, the point is you got to toe the line. We try to toe the line, and then we still keep getting messed up.
I believe if I become a politician, I would not get corrupted because it's not interesting.
That's what everybody says, but then when you actually realize what the kind of power
because if you have faith
that
that the things that you're supposed to have are going to come to you, then you don't try to like scam and get shortcuts. It's only when you believe, there's no other way, and this is my only option.
It's not about for you; it's about what you could do for other people.
But
right?
That's the whole point.
It's not only other people, but career politicians are a problem.
Yeah.
people who are not career politicians who want to help other people
because they know they already are in office.
You know,
and
like,
people will vote for them again because it's a,
he
he
did
did a good enough job.
a lot of these lawyers, they go out to represent you. So there are good lawyers that want to help you, but there are some lawyers that do these, these cases where they're what's it called again? Where they have where they represent everybody. I forgot what it's called again. These special. I really in my head.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
When they sue a big company, Z, and they get a big settlement, and everybody gets one penny, but they get like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's just not right. And these guys know how to get it done. They screw the regular little man. You get a check for 1 penny, like TD Bank used to be able to change your pennies and quarters and nickels over there.
I love that machine.
They stopped it now, because they sued the bank something that they did wrong, and now we have to pay 10% in check cashing places.
We should have what Israel does with the suing thing, that if you're getting sued, then both parties, you have to pay for both lawyers. That convince people.
Otherwise, you have to, somebody sues you, it's your responsibility to, somebody accuses you of something, all of a sudden, you got to defend yourself and get a lawyer.
Too easy,
it's like amazing. A woman says you did this, not to take away, because a lot of it is true, but it's like, a woman says something, your whole career could be ruined before even anything comes out. It's amazing.
Everybody, thank you for listening to our show. It's coming to the end of the show. You were just listening to the Just Enough Heshy Show. And quickly, we're going to do a quick rundown. You have the Pescata restaurants that you should give a call to. They're wonderful places to go out and eat. Enjoy them, relax, and have a great atmosphere. You got Esty with Change Pain.
Change Pain, yeah. I mean... Yeah, you can reach me at changepain@gmail.com or call at 347-687-9995. If you need a mediator between two people, that's also something in my job description.
Don't forget ttstyles.com, Tehila Tishler. You can reach out to Tehila at TEETEESTYLES.com, 718-675-6842, or Green Line Building Solutions, 718-871-0382, 718-871-0382. You can reach us at 16th Avenue. You can come to us at 16th Avenue, 54th Street, make an appointment, 718-871-0382, and we help you with all your building department needs.
Yeah, I just also wanted to say, if you're looking for a meaningful singles event on Shavuos, this is a Jewish holiday, you can email yomtovconnect@gmail.com. It'll give you information. This is for...
Say it again, Yom Tov.
Yom Tov, YOMTOV, connect. Yomtov@gmail.com, and you can meet other deep-minded singles.
And before our show ends, next week's guest is going to be very interesting, guys, because we have a lady by the name of Nancy Hartwell, who has studied the topic on human trafficking. Do you believe that over the last 40 years, that people actually get kidnapped and sold as slaves? Thank you, everybody, listening to the Just Enough Heshy Show. Have a good night. Come back and speak to us next week on May the 7th. Good night.